How do you defy life? By standing out from the crowd, living life on your own terms, being unapologetically you. Say it all with Defy Life gear. Stylish apparel and accessories for men, women, and kids. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, bags, outerwear, and more. Visit DefyLifeGear.com for all of your Defy Life gear. And remember, your lifestyle should always be defiant. DefyLifeGear.com.
The following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
But when you are a guard and you can pull off from 30, there is very little that can be done with you. And that is the case with Stephen Curry. He don't need help. He don't need screens. He can create his own shot off the dribble.
Yeah. Ooh, Coach put me in the game. I can hit the shot from half court. MVP of all sports. Coach put me in the game. You know I'm the truth on the field. Pad up. Competition know the deal. Coach put me in the game. Woo. Yeah. Coach put me in the game. Coach put me in the game. Welcome to the Coach Staley, Coach English Show. Ghoulish gang. Coach put me in the game.
Welcome back to the Staley in English Show with Coach Kurtz. I'm your man, Coach English, and I'm in the building with Coach Staley. Our guy, Coach Kurtz, is out today, but we have a very, 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 very special guest, and that is mother of Jordan Smallwood, Shannon B. Mason. But before we get to her, Josh, what's happening?
Oh, man, all is well. God is good. I've been really thinking about how appreciative I am of my wife because, you know, I have 3 sons, and my 2 older sons are really ripping and running with sports, and we've been splitting, going both ways. I've been coaching Talons, which is my 5th grade son, travel ball team, and Jason's in the 2nd grade now. Now he's playing travel basketball. Both of them are playing baseball. So we've been ripping and running, and she's been the one carrying the baby around, little Leo, who's about to turn 11 months in a couple of days. So just shout out to her for hitting that grind with me. But other than that, man, I have no complaints. God has been good. We're behind the school year now. I cannot wait to get to spring break. I am fiending for spring break where I'm probably going to do absolutely nothing. But other than that, everything is good. Coach E, how's your week going?
Man, it's going good. Speaking of little Leo, man, got these clothes here I'm bringing this weekend. Friday night, I'm going to bring these clothes for Leo that Lynn has been killing me to bring down there. So, and I know I haven't really gotten over there, but we got some clothes to bring for little Leo. So,
how long has she been telling you to bring it?
Man, Josh, can we not do that? Like, once again, company. We have company again. Like,
my kids call you uncle and you can't even spend 20 minutes to bring the child some clothes.
Josh, I'm bringing them this weekend. It's coming this weekend, okay? But like I said, we got company with us today. That's Miss Shannon B. Mason once again. She is the mother of Jordan Smallwood, who you just heard on the previous podcast. So, she asked that we call her Shannon. So, Shannon, how are you doing? And you know,
I'm good. I was cracking up laughing. You didn't deliver the clothes?
Yo, Shannon, you can't. Hold on. No, we can't.
Wait, now. You're the uncle. You got to be on it. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody finally sees where I'm coming from.
Can we not do this?
He always plays the victim. And this grown man won't even bring up. If the baby ain't nothing but 11 months, he won't bring his outfit.
Man, come on, Dad. It's more than one.
Gotta show up, right?
Wait, Josh, it's more than just
Big Uncle. Where Big Uncle at?
Oh,
thank you, Shannon.
Everybody sides with you, Josh. I'm starting to feel a certain type of way about that. Like,
hey, man, the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free.
It is not the truth. I'm gonna find. We will have a guest on the show that will agree with me. I promise you. Before we are done.
All right, man.
It will happen.
But Shannon, let's tell us a little bit about yourself, Shannon. Give us a little background so the listeners can know.
Well, I am the mother of 5, previously married, and now married again, and together we have 12.
Shoo.
So that, you know what? It's funny because you say, who, but actually it's been really good. You know, everybody's older.
Okay.
But it's just, I guess because of what me and my husband have been through in our previous marriage, the love that we share now, it's just poured into the kids. So it's actually been pretty good. You know, you hear all the horror stories about blended families, but I think we just, you know what, we just sat down, we talked, and we just prayed, and we just was real with the kids. You know what I'm saying? There was no sugarcoating, and they actually get along really good. And so I'm truly blessed for it. So, other than that, besides that, I'm an author, a mother, an entrepreneur, a taxi driver, a cook, I wear all the hats up in this piece. You know what I'm saying? A coach. Hey, I could be a coach. Don't get it twisted now. You know, I could be coached when I need to be. I sometimes act like I'm an attorney, practice a little law or something, but I'm just Shannon. You know what I'm saying? I'm where I need to be when I need to be, or who I need to be when I need to be. So that's kind of in a nutshell of who I am.
Okay.
No doubt. You're taking a humble approach, but like as husbands, we know how important it is to have that strong support system. You know, men, we like to think we know it all, but women, y'all are the ones to keep us in order because y'all actually do know. So we value that on an everyday basis. But Coach E, man, let's get this thing cranked up, man. What you got? What's one of the first things you got for Shannon?
All right, Shannon, you have 5 children of your own, and then like you just said, you married, and he had 7 of his, and you come together and you have 12, and you guys are really involved. And it seems, all of those kids are well on their way to successful lives. How hard is it, or how difficult is it, or what kind of pitfalls did you come across raising student athletes?
The challenge that I came across, especially starting with Jordan, is just the peer pressure. You know, as an athlete, you watch them go through in high school. You know, it's funny because I always told Jordan, you hang out with the nerds. And he looked at me one day. I said, no, I'm not playing. You hang out. Don't hang out with the popular athletes. I need you to hang out with the nerds. You'll see later why. And so he did and so actually it's funny. They're the best of friends to this day. And one of them actually went off to be a pastor, and he prays and covers Jordan. The other one has his back, but it kept him out. It kept him humble. And it kept him out of a lot of peer pressure of hanging with the so-called what do you call them? Right, yeah. Not the local kids, the popular. That's the word. The popular athletes, and because they seem to stay in a lot of trouble. You have a love for them, but you started to see they weren't that grounded. And so in order to keep him grounded, I told him, I said, you hang out with the ones that don't play sports, that's not that popular. There's a reason. So as a mom, watching the peer pressure of trying to fit in, but then not trying to fit in, you got to find the balance. And so having those heart-to-heart talks, even with Jordan, about the females, I had to have the real. I was one of those moms. I had the real heart-to-heart. I didn't sugarcoat, and I wasn't that one that always blamed the girl. You just want my son because he. No, I had to be 100. It's like, yes, you do have girls out there, but at the same time, I understand your hormones too. So you got to use wisdom at what you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? You can't look at the popular girl. Don't get it twisted. Don't fall asleep on the nerdy girl. Because you ever seen that nerdy girl, but then like 10 years later, you're like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's those kind of conversations that we really had heart to heart and would laugh about. So it was just watching him adjust as an athlete.
Great. And I know it's funny because something on the show we talk about often when Coach Kurtz is on, this is one of his quotes, is that you're the sum of the 3 people you hang around the most. So you teaching him to hang around people with common goals, common aspirations, want to stay out of trouble. And after talking to Jordan, we see how he has been reared in that way. So he's been taught that way, and it's still coming out of him right now, even as a grown man, because a lot of times folks get grown and they're like, hey, I could do it my way. But no, those things, those life skills have been embedded in him. And yeah, like the prodigal son, he might have got off track for a few steps, but he always found his way. So that's definitely a blessing, and something a lot of parents, I think, should take heed to when dealing with bringing up kids, especially the student athletes, because student athletes are exposed to so much more than just the regular student. They
are. There's those locker room conversations that you don't see. You see them run out on the field. But there's a locker room conversations and videos that you don't get to see that the other kids are introducing to them. So they're caught in that peer pressure, and that's I call it the athlete lingo. You know what I'm saying? That's that athlete lingo in that locker room that they doing things. Listen, one day I said to Jordan, I said, Jordan, let me ask you a question. He was in high school. I said, you be out on that field cussing? His eyes went one way and the other way. Jordan, and go, Mama, it's hard because they be, but I had to go, okay, it's that peer pressure, you know what I'm saying? So I had to say, okay, listen, that's not good character. Try not to do what everybody else do. I know they make you mad on the field. I know they be talking trash to you. You don't have to talk it. Just handle your business. Just that's it. Let them talk. But then you handle business when they release that ball. You show them. So it's those kind of conversations again that we have. So yeah, it's understandable.
But it sounds like you understand that it's an ongoing process. A lot of parents struggle because they don't put the time in. It's something that's ongoing. It's not one or two conversations. It's just a revolving like duty and task. It never stops. So you have to stay on your kids. You have to at all times.
Yeah, you do. You do. You don't. You can't. Even with my daughter who plays basketball, she was 7th grade and made the varsity team in 7th grade for high school. And so they watched her. As soon as she hit 9th grade, boom, she was on varsity. So I saw your 9th grade with seniors, advanced players. Now you're trying to find your way to fit in. And so I here I go again. I'm watching it now from a daughter's aspect, and it's a different because females are catty. You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole, guys are, they throw their chest around, talk their trash, and they're going about their business. Where females keep stuff going. So I had to show her, and I had to teach her from another level what to look for and how to handle and how to stay out of trouble. So it is an ongoing. It doesn't stop in high school. It goes to, collegiate, and then it goes to now professional. So it's a conversation you almost are having to talk every other week, because there's always something new developing.
Right.
And, yeah.
Well, here's my question for you. As a lot of parents out there that are parents and student athletes, what advice would you give them as their role? What is the place of a parent? And what role should they play, when having a student athlete? It could be like with the coach or any of those things. Like, what do you think is the place of that parent when dealing with a student athlete?
Well, first, I think it is really sitting down and asking the question, is this my vision or is it yours? That's where it starts. Because if it is your vision because you was the shoulda, coulda, woulda and didn't play, and you're actually putting it on your child, then you're going to have problems. But if it's truly their vision and their passion, then you got to ask, how do I support you? It's kind of like with Jordan, it was a conversation. Do you really want to play? Because, his dad at the time, basketball, and he could have went to the NBA, but he didn't. In college, got in trouble. So I had to be the one that jump in the middle between them two and go, okay, listen, I know you wish you could have went, but don't put your weight on him. I played all sports in high school and could have ran track, but just a lot of health situations. So I'm like, I have to make sure I don't put what I could have done on him as well. So I think as a parent, when you start there and go, okay, is this my vision or my daughter or my son's vision? And then when you get that clarity, then it's how can I help them? And it's by paying attention to them, paying attention to their mood swings, paying attention to what goes on, in the classroom, off the classroom, on the court or on the field, off the field, and teaching them how to have respect, period, because that carries you all the way across the board in life. And so it's those things we would sit down and talk about. It's like, listen, he would come home, and I know when he had a good day at practice, and I know when the coach made him mad. And my thing was, listen, no matter what, you keep yourself together, because you're going to have to obey somebody. That's just law. I don't care if you got a job, you got to listen to your boss. I don't care if you're, go to school, you got to listen to your teacher. So you're going to have to respect, period. So if your coach make you mad, breathe while, just get yourself together. When, time is over, get somewhere by yourself, move aside, let it go, and then come back, because all it takes is you to be disrespectful one time, and that messes you up, and you're labeled. So those are the steps that I would say as a parent, is just really sitting down with them and having a heart-to-heart. Don't make it about you. And don't put that weight, especially if you're a parent that are dealing in a poverty situation, because you have a lot of those. Don't put the weight on them to get you out of your mess. That's not fair to them. You know what I'm saying? It's bad enough that the world looks at them as a dollar sign. Don't you look at them as a dollar sign. Just push them to be better than what you was, and cheer them on, and then let them go. But don't put your weight on them to get you out of your mess. Figure out how to get out of your mess yourself.
Oh, now you're stepping on toes. See, that's
I know.
Don't come on. You stepping on all them toes now.
But it's true. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I call it the backpack, right? So
Ooh.
It's like, imagine putting a backpack on a kid, right? So you got 5 bricks. And so one brick is social media, one brick is school, one brick is sports, one brick is family, and the other brick is just them, just trying to find who they are. So here they are trying to carry this backpack on their back and trying to figure out who they are. You know what I'm saying? So now they're trying to please everybody. They're trying to please everybody, and with these, each brick, right? So it's like, take the brick out and be like, listen, I always told Jordan, I'm going to make it before you. He looked at me one day. He said, what? I said, let's race. I'll make it before you do. So I make it a competition. Take what you've been through, whether you put it in a book or write a journal or blog or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, take your mess off your child.
That's powerful.
And let them go be who God created them to be, not you, because you didn't create them. God did. And that was my thing. You be who God told you to be. If you came to me and said, Mom, I'm going to be an astronaut, I might twitch a couple times. My eyes might flinch. You know what I'm saying? I might be like, but I'm going to say, okay, go.
Yeah.
Because the thought of you being in the, in space, I'm going to say go. Because if you tell me that's what God said, then, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's so powerful, because, man, like, a lot of parents try to live vicariously through their kids. And that becomes so unhealthy. It becomes unhealthy.
It does.
So that's powerful. But Coach E, what you got next, Papa?
Well, this question kind of sparked from an earlier statement you made. You said your daughter is on her way, basketball wise, and you have Jordan with football. It's 2 different sports, but not only that, it's 2 different genders. Like, was it like? How different is it, and how much is it the same to raise 2 successful athletes that are one girl and one boy?
Well, it's different because she's a little feisty. So there's those times. I have to go, okay, Lord, you got to help. Because, the mama and the coach is trying to come out at the same time. So I don't know which one she's going to get today. But at the same time, it's still the same principle. Your character, respect, and why you're doing what you do. Find out why you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, it was just last summer, and she was getting ready to go to the 9th grade. And I let her go out of town with a friend, and they went to El Paso. And so she calls me, and plus she was playing AAU basketball. So she calls me one day, and she says, Mom, she was supposed to be back on that Friday. I think I need a little more time. I'm tired, and I just need to get away. And I paused, and I said, oh, really? Now, she had a game coming up that weekend with her AAU team. And then she was getting ready to go into high school. So I said, really? I said, but how about this? I said, you're going to pick up the phone. Matter of fact, I'm going to call your coach on the AAU team 3-way. You're going to tell him what you told me, right? And then you're not going to play varsity. You're going to play freshman. I'm dropping you down myself. Because how dare you, right? You got a game this weekend. Talking about you need a break. I said, do you know how many times I needed a break, but I get up every weekend. I make sure you're at the games. I said, me and Dad make sure we're spending $800. This is $800 for her to play. And making sure you have money to play. And I said, and then here's the varsity coach looking up to you, and you're supposed to be getting ready for the season, but you need a break. Okay, you can take your break. You go ahead and stay there. You have a good old time. But when you come back, you're going to play as a freshman, and then you're going to get benched on the AAU team. So I made her call her coach and tell him. And he sat there. He goes, I'm pretty disappointed in you. And so then she started crying. Listen, I bet that joker was back on that Friday. Joker was pulling up.
But what you did is so powerful, because you didn't coddle your daughter. You didn't like baby or pamper her. You made her put her big girl pants on.
That's right.
And it was just like, yo, you want this? I'm tired every day getting up support y'all. Do I get to just take a break? Because if I take a break, then y'all will be like, oh, you just a bad parent. But most parents don't hold their kids to any expectation. And then when they do get into these competitive sports and something don't go their way, the only thing they know how to do is run back to the parent. But your daughter, from that one lesson, she learned how to fight. She learned how to fight.
And it was so funny. And the coach, I'm sorry, I was going to say, and the coach said to me, he said, I appreciate, he said, because you thought on both sides as a mother and a coach. And I said, yeah, because it's not fair to you guys. You guys get up, you leave your families to come coach these girls and different things like that. And she needs a break. I said, if you do that now, what would you do by the time you get to high school, well into high school and collegiate? What you going to do? Call your coach, hey, coach, I'm not coming to class today. I need a break. Really?
Right.
So I had to teach her, now you can't make those kind of decisions. You were selfish. You thought about yourself. And then there was one last incident. So I was at the game, and I always sit really high at the top and watch, because I watched the whole court. So she wasn't having a good game, and she had made freshman. And she was, this was in high school this year. She didn't have a good game. So she plops down all the way at the end of the row, right? So all the team is sitting together. She's like 3 seats away, and she just plops down and she huffs. And so one of the girls was like, come on down here with us. And she wouldn't move. And so when one girl came off, you know how you stand up and you high five, and she wouldn't get up. I said, okay. I was sitting up there. I said, I got you. Soon as we got off, I said, let me tell you something. Don't you ever plop down. I said, do you know everybody watched you? I said, if a college was here, I said, you already messed up. I said, everybody watched your attitude. Okay, so you were having a bad game. And that doesn't mean everybody else has to be penalized because you was having a bad game. I said, if I ever see that again, I'm going to bench you myself, and I will go to the coach and tell her I'm going to bench you.
See, that's,
she never did it again. I said, that's not fair to the coach. I said, that's disrespectful.
Josh, how many times have you gone through that one there? Like,
man, I don't
as a coach,
blame the coach for the kid playing bad.
Boy, what
it's
you say?
It's your fault that the child playing bad. And I'm like, no, hold that kid to an expectation.
That's right.
But
that's right. You can't jump on the coaches. I've never been one of those that go jump on the coaches. If you bench my child, there is a reason. Jordan's only benched one time because of his grade. I tell you what, that joker never have been benched again ever in his life. and Jaden her name Jaden. She was benched, and because she wasn't. Again, you're talking about a girl who came from 7th, 8th, and now she's playing varsity. She wasn't gelling quite because it was a different level, and I noticed that. So the coach benched her, and I called her one day and I said, "Thank you." And she said, "Well," I said, "for benching her." And she said, "What?" And I said, "Bench her. When she want to get off that bench, it's going to be up to her. It's not up to you. It's up to her to get off that bench.
And
she want to play.
Your son's a pro. Oh my
That's
God.
exactly
she
why.
She better know how to play. She's got to figure out what to do to get off that bench. It's not up to you to get her off that bench. I'm not going to yell at you. Why ain't you been? My daughter is this. Man, please. She on the bench because she put herself on the bench, not because the coach, because she didn't live up to the expectation or that what the coach saw in 7th and 8th grade. By the time she got to 9th, she played kind of because it was puzzling to me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, why are you playing like this? What's wrong? That's the question. What's wrong? Is the peer pressure too much to you? If it is, I'll drop you back down to freshman. She's like, "No, Mom, I got it." I said, "Okay, you need to figure out what the problem is. But until then, if you sit that bench, it's your fault. It's not the coach's fault. It's not mine. It's yours. When you're ready to get off that bench, you'll do something about it. You'll put that on the phone.
I'm over here raising the roof while you're talking.
Yo.
You'll put that on the phone, and you'll do the extra mile to get off that bench."
Hey, Josh, I promise you, I was just saying, I was trying to figure out who I could call to clone Shannon and and make about 15 of her for my team for next year. I just need actually 13. I got about a couple parents that's straight, but I was like, okay, we got to clone Shannon somehow because this here.
I'm over here just pumping and everything.
Yo, But
the catch is, I'm telling you, that's the catch. And it's like one of those riddles to life. As humans, we make life complex. I believe the good Lord makes the things very simple for you. But as humans, we make things complex. But Shannon kept it simple. You're not getting it done. Not the coach. It's not the coach's fault. You're not getting it done.
Right.
So you look in that thing called a mirror, and guess what? You get better. But I appreciate that. I know we got to move on. We can talk about that.
Nah, but I'm saying, but Josh, to go back to it a little bit, what Shannon, what you're doing there is you're teaching. You've taught her. Of course, this is something that's happened already, but you taught her self-reflection, which is hard for adults to do. Adults have not mastered self-reflection and going, "Hey, look, I'm messing up and I need to figure out how I need to fix it so that, okay, if my lights get cut off, that's on me.
That's right.
If my rent don't get paid, that's on me.
That's right.
What am I not doing because I'm making the money, but maybe I'm spending too much at the liquor store? Maybe I don't need to go to the club. Maybe I don't need to do this because the essentials are not getting done. But what happens is people that are not raised in a way in which they can embrace self-reflection and to be able to make the change, they end up growing up to be adults that don't make change and are consistently in issues financially, personally, with relationships, at work. And the lessons I tell my players, you want to tell how someone lives their life, watch them play a sport because it tells a lot about them as a person.
Oh my goodness. That's
watch them.
Yes, it does.
Watch them play because either they practice hard, they work hard, they reflect, they watch film, they figure out, okay, like your daughter, she was on the bench, not you, not the coach.
That's right.
And you had to say, hey, look, hey, you want off that bench. You got to figure that out.
You sure do.
It's all about how you raise your kids because ultimately that's how they're going to compete also.
Yeah. Don't come home with an attitude because you're on the bench. wait, whoa. You know, and so Jordan has a brother. He's in college, and his story is a little different. Mm-hmm. He plays football, but he had ACL tears in high school. And so that's another level I had to go through because I had to watch his so he didn't get to play as much in high school. And so he's better than Jordan. He's the gift. Now, let me tell you, now watch this. He was my very talented. Joker could read a hole because he was a running back. Unreal. Quick as I don't know what, right? So Jordan was the kid that studied. He watched the film. Julian was that kid who he just had it naturally. And so when he was in Little League, and I would tell his dad at the time, Julian didn't put in the work, but Julian was so good, the coaches took 50%, and I would get mad because I'm like, that's not fair because you're messing him up. Because he needs to work just as hard as the rest of those kids. Just because he's better and he's quicker and he's faster, and I mean, he's very talented, doesn't give him the right to have to do anything. But it was an issue. So I said, okay, I'm going to leave y'all alone. And sure enough, his work ethics caught up to him. He gets injured. And that same work ethics he didn't want to put into really getting better. But he was I'm going to play football. But yet your mouth and your work wasn't meeting.
Wow.
And I would tell him, Julian, you're here because you choose to be here. No one put you here but you. So what are you going to do about it? So it was after the second injury that it was like, okay, Mom. I'm like, do I have your undivided attention? And so it's like, no matter what you do, Julian, I don't care if you go work a 9 to 5. I don't care whatever it is. You're going to work at something. So if this is what you want to do, then you're going to have to work at it. So he'll actually be going back in June to play. But he changed his position to corner. But and he's doing better putting in the work, but he realized the gift and the talent, he became lazy. And because the coaches took half, they rather take his 50%. And I mean, his 50% was always winning the game in the Little League, right? And I said, just think if you was given 100. Oh my gosh. But because the coaches settled for the 50, right? His dad was settling for the 50. I wasn't, so I looked like the outcast. So I had to step back and say, okay, all right. Now he sits down and go, I wish I'd have gave 100. You think?
Yeah.
So he's now realizing, wow, it's man, I didn't get to play high school. Here I'm fighting. He thought he was going to go to a D1. Here he's fighting just to get through a JUCO. So he's being humbled at a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
But he's being made stronger. Like, I mean, you got to go through, I believe you have to go through some hurdles sometimes to be able to get to that sprint,
Yep.
But we're going to move on. Man, listen, I could talk to you all day. Josh, I don't know about you, but we might need to make her a permanent person on the show. Staley in English with Coach Kurtz and Shannon.
I don't know if we can afford her.
I don't think we can afford her either. We're going to move on a little bit. You wrote a book called The Process. Now, I haven't had a chance to read it, but I'm definitely going to do so. But I do want to know, and I'm sure our listeners want to know, how did that come about, and what was that process like? No pun intended, but what was that process like?
Well, after going through my divorce, I had to sit down and take a look in the mirror. And so what happens is we all go through life and we have on someone else's mask, whether it's the mask of social media, the mask of ministry, as a husband, a wife, whatever, that we don't even know who we are anymore. And so I had to sit down and go, wow, look at all these different masks. I don't even know me. Like, who am I? And so it's the process transitioning back to the original you. So I needed to get back to the original me, what my purpose really is, what my call really is, and help others understand who they really are, and really sit down and look at, because everybody wants to be great, right? But everybody is great, but you don't know you're great, because greatness is measured at whether through a professional athlete, a recording artist, an actor, someone of that level. That's how what you say is great, right? But I had to look and go, everybody has the ability to be great at what they do, whether it's a fireman. That's a little kid say, hey, I always want to be a fireman, and they reach that level. Well, that's great. That's a level of greatness. So I had to go, okay, Shannon, I'm great at whatever you call me to do, I'm going to be great at it, period. Whether it is a mother, whether it is a wife, that's where I'm at. I was so busy trying to reach where everybody else was that I was missing and losing me. And so what happens is we jump the process of life. We have to go back over it again. So through the book, it's like I take you through chapters, like the process of elimination was a very powerful chapter for me, because I had to eliminate and practically mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually detox so much out of my life. And so when I did that, it was like, wow, I didn't realize that was a habit, or I didn't realize I have been stuck in this place for so long, or I didn't realize I had this kind of attached to me and it shouldn't have never been attached to me, or I was in, had friends I shouldn't have never had. And so I had to really do a detox. And so that's what I talk about in that chapter. And then I had to realize, okay, now that I've eliminated, it's now time for change. And change is okay. I'm okay being me. I don't have to reach for the stars. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to be who you think I should be, or act the way you thought I should act. I'm okay with change, being me. And then now it's time to move forward. So that's the next chapter, the process of moving forward. So the book was really about me rediscovering me, and then helping others how to rediscover themselves. And so I've taken some from the book and actually developed an athlete development book, taking them through the same process steps on how to discover themselves. Because before you was an athlete, you know what I'm saying, your name was James Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Take the title athlete off. Who is James Johnson? Because when you can discover who he is first, then you can walk out your process as an athlete. Because see, that's what social media and people do. They put the athlete in front of James' name, and James don't even know who he is. All he knows himself as athlete.
Yeah.
Pastors, you know what I'm saying? You was Fred Smith, but because they put pastor in the front,
Pastor Fred
no
Smith.
one knows Fred. Right, there it is.
Yeah.
So you lose who you are because of the title.
And the title ends up defining who you are.
That's right.
That's dope.
So the process is to get you back to the original you, who God didn't say, he didn't give you the birth name, Pastor Fred. You know what I'm saying? You didn't come out on your birth certificate and don't say Pastor Fred Johnson. You know what I'm saying? Or Pastor Fred.
Yeah.
It says your name. So it's like, who are you? And that's kind of how the book came about.
Yeah. So for those of us that don't know, where can we find the book?
The book is on Amazon. The Process by Shannon B. Mason.
Okay.
That's right now. It's the only outlet that I do have it on is on Amazon.
Okay. I'm gonna order my book tomorrow. It ain't gonna be tonight because I'm packing.
Just like you bought them clothes.
See, Josh, Shannon don't know us like that, man. You can't keep bringing up stuff, man. You bringing up old stuff.
Hey, I'm gonna check back in a week. First I'm gonna check back in a week to see if you dropped the clothes off. And I'm gonna go on Amazon to see if the book was ordered.
Hey, listen, I'm gonna order the book tomorrow. See, Shannon, you might even see the book was ordered tonight.
Once you do the show, you family now. So Shannon, you family. I wish you have well thoughts for you. But Mama, you ain't gonna get that book. I'm gonna just buy 2 and send 1 to him, Shannon. Okay?
Josh, no. You will not take credit for my book. I'm going to buy my own book.
I'm not going to take credit. I'm buying 2 because I care about you. I care about you. Okay? So and it sounds like something we all need to read. and I'm gonna get the book and read it. Then I'm gonna do the little Twitter challenge. They challenge somebody to read the book.
Oh yeah, definitely go put that Twitter challenge out there. Hey, real quick, Shannon, you said this is an athlete version of the book, or is it just okay? So what's the name of that?
It's going to be it's the athlete development. It's a part of my program E365. So that part of it is the athletes for Evolve is basically where I set up a program that the athletes have to go through, which I talk about character building and media interviews and you name it. I take them all through the process.
Yeah,
that I did with Jordan.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that next. Evolve365 is launching this June in Dallas. So, I mean, great segue. You segued yourself. So go ahead and run with it. What's 365? Tell us about it. Jordan kind of touched on it a little bit. Well, he touched on it a lot. So, tell us about it. How did it come about? And
Jordan and the kids. So I basically took everything that I implemented in the children, and I put it in a development program that I would love to be able to go to the schools and we do have a basketball team. We started an AAU boys basketball team, so the boys going to have to go through the program and we want to build a well-rounded elite athlete. By Jordan receiving those 2 honor awards, that was that's all I needed. It's like, okay, it works. And so then my daughter receiving actually 4 since 6th grade, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th on her character. I was like, okay, it really does work. So I basically wanted to design something where not only the athletes have to go through this program, but the parents have to go, because if the parents don't go, the athletes can't be in the program. And I did it like that for a reason, because what good is it if we're getting your son or your daughter to an elite level, well-rounded, and then they go home and you tear it down. So it's like, we got to work. I want to be able to show them how to work together with their son or their daughter to be a well-rounded athlete on the field, off the field, on the court, off the court, baseball, whatever sport they play. Because everybody's not going to make the 1%. That's the first reality. And everybody's not going to make it the way you think. You know what I'm saying? Because we had dreams of Jordan going first round draft, and it didn't happen. Jordan went as a free agent. So what do you do when that happens? You have to learn to shift mentally. It's like, okay, Jordan, don't lose it. So what does this mean? How do you use this to your benefit? It just means you work harder. And so it's those things that these parents need to understand. And as their children are, going through the process of junior high to high school to collegiate, that you need to have a backup plan. So if your child doesn't make the 1%, it's not over. It's not over. You have to be strategic. There's other avenues and there's other ways to be in the sports industry, whether it's through a journalist, whether it's news, pod shows or coaches or trainers, you name it. You still can have access to the industry. You just got to be creative and see it from a different aspect. So the program basically helps the whole family understand the reality of this. It's that part me and Jordan talked about today, because when Jordan signed, Jordan didn't sign with a check. And so I told him, I said, we're going to have to tell the truth. Joker, you got to get a part-time job till you go. Y'all laughing. Listen,
we with you.
It's just how you
Ubered.
I'm sorry.
He Ubered. You know what I'm saying? He Ubered with a Coke and a smile. He was the Uber man. You know what I'm saying? Since he's been waiting to go back. And he worked part-time at LA Fitness. So it's like, we have to tell the truth, because people see NFL, they think you got millions. No, honey. It doesn't go like that. Let's be real. What do you do when your kid doesn't get that check? It's not over. It's reality. Right. So he Ubered and he worked at LA Fitness part-time. And it kept him humble. It kept him humble. And it's like, man, it's like, okay, I appreciate it. And I tell everybody, I'm glad he didn't get it. Because when you take a kid that has, $20 to $200 in the bank, right? And then you drop them a $20 million check, and they're not grounded, Oh my gosh, you're setting yourself up a disaster.
Oh, it's gang blouses. You might lose a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad he didn't get it, because it humbled him to go, and it made him appreciate his work even more, his hard work even more. So now when he gets it, and we had time to talk about when it comes. Okay, what are you going to do? This is what we're going to set up. This is the things you need to focus on. And he was able to work alongside of me with Evolve, and now go, okay, Mom, I know where I want to put the money. I know what I want to do. So now when it comes, it's like, we're good. But if I love my son, but if Jordan would have got it, oh my gosh, we might not have been having this show, y'all. That joker might have been hanging up from somewhere.
No,
you did too well of a job. You did too good of a job with him, to be a thought. But I will say this: right now, you're speaking to me. My son is currently he's trying to have his pro day and trying to get drafted, and it's looking like it's not gonna happen. So just listening to you right now is giving me some inspiration, because I'm not going to lie. Me and him have had some conversations about just what are we going to do if it doesn't happen. And we signed with an agent, and he did, not me, but he did. And he's trying to do his best, but it's just looking like it's not going to work out as far as being drafted. And you and Jordan tonight have really spoke to my heart as far as what I need to talk to him about. And I'm going to talk to him as soon as we get off this podcast about, just figuring out what we're going to do next. So,
I will tell you this. So with that happening, you have to sit down and go, okay, how can we get around or still make noise? So with us doing Evolve and getting him involved in, we started the AAU basketball team. So I made him the face of it.
Yeah.
Because Jordan did not sign with the 49ers until 2 weeks at the end of December. So you're talking 6 months at home, right? So he did start off with Kansas. Kansas released him when they had that big release. And then he went to the Canadian, and he only did a week there and came home. So during this time, it was frustrating, but we never lost faith. And I said, okay, what else can we be doing to make noise? What else can you be doing? He's still trained. We never gave up. His agent still kept pushing and going after things. But it was like, how can you take this and use it to help another person or another young person? And so Jordan, again, he humbled himself and Ubered. And I said, just don't tell nobody your name. Just don't tell nobody what you do. And then he worked part-time. But we kept sitting at the table trying to figure out different avenues that we could do. And with me having to, already started Evolve, it's like, okay, get involved with these young people. I said, just keep doing it. And so I would tell his agent, listen, show this side of Jordan. Show, use the honor awards. Show this side of him still getting out there in the community and doing different things. So it catches the attention, because one thing I realized, by the time you get to professional, these coaches are really getting tired. It's like, you can be a very good athlete, right? But if you got trouble, it's like, okay, they don't have a good batch to choose from. Does that make sense? It's like, okay, this one's really good, but dang, this one just beat up 2 girls, in college, or this one's good, but dang, this one just got for drugs. And so it's like, there's not a good batch to choose from like it used to be. I'm talking about back in Jerry Rice and back in those days. It's not as, I'm not saying they didn't have trouble, but the upbringing was different.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying to him, keep your head up, stay out of trouble, so they can say, like, this one, he didn't get, had that many on the, points on the board or whatever you want to say. But this one got good character. We can work with you. You're teachable. We can mold you.
Yeah.
I said, that's what you want them to say about you. And that's what they have said. I would say, don't give up. It's there. You just got to figure out where It is, and every time he gets an opportunity to go and interview or however they try out, tell him, leave your mark on the field. No matter what, you need to make them want you, or be like, where have you been all our life?
I appreciate that. You and Jordan definitely spoke to me tonight, and it's funny. I know that the interview kind of took its own kind of turn and twist, but it really kind of it did. I mean, certain points, like I said, Shannon, like, we need to add you to the show, but like Josh said, we got.
Can I come on with my interview? Yo, this the girl Shannon. What's up, everybody?
Hey, yeah, we can start with that. Listen,
take it back to the early hip hops with yo.
That's what she brought it back to. But Shannon, man, it has been a pleasure talking to you. I mean, I don't think you fully understand how much of a pleasure it's been for me and Josh to talk to you. And on the previous episode, your son, you are two amazing people. And anytime, you got the email, you got my phone number. Anytime you guys just want to randomly pop up and get on the show, I'm pretty certain Josh doesn't have an issue with you guys being on. Josh, anything else for Shannon? Because I'm blown. I
think she's blessed our listeners with a ton of knowledge from a totally different perspective. Because see, a lot of times we talk to the parents and they think, oh, y'all just coaches, but to hear that from another parent come and give, I think, blessed our listeners with a totally different perspective. I just want to thank you, Shannon, for giving us your time. Time is way more precious than money, so we really appreciate that. So
yeah, I appreciate you guys having us. Yeah.
Hey man, we're not gonna hold you up any longer. We gonna, Coach English, start with the shout outs, man.
Yeah, we know
Shannon get back to her family.
Yeah, we know you got all them hats to put on, so we ain't gonna hold you up anymore. So Shannon, any shout outs you want to give?
I just first of all, I just want to give a shout out to God. I couldn't do what I do without him.
Amen.
So that's first and foremost. And to my husband for supporting me in what I do, and my children for putting up with me. But my hat's off to all you coaches out there who's listening. It's not an easy job, because you guys deal with so many different attitudes, and the sad thing about it is sometimes it's the attitudes from the parents, and the kid brings it on the field. So, my hat's off to you coaches who have to encounter it. I see it all the time, and you guys deserve a little bit more respect than a lot of you guys get. So keep doing the, good work that you do. And I will keep trying to develop some good athletes for you. And we can kind of go from there.
Amen. Right. My shout out is going to follow you, Shannon. Shout out to God, and we just need to continue to fight for love in this world. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, man. Shouts out to God as well, man. I'm be on that same bus with you guys. One
Trinity.
Next thing, shouts out to you, Shannon. I can't say it enough. You're doing a wonderful job as a parent with your kids.
Thank you.
All 12 of them. And I only got 6, and like I said, I thought I had it, thought I had it done, but you got me beat, hands down. But just from the knowledge that you dropped on me as a parent today, and all of the parents that listen to us, definite shouts out to you. Shouts out to your husband, because apparently he's an amazing man if he's been able to keep you. Shouts out to the job that you're doing.
Come on, Jimmy, don't do it.
See, Josh, no, don't start with me. See, we almost.
Shannon, before we go, I get this is very important.
No, we already covered it with Jordan. Josh.
I know you've been around sports a long time.
Josh.
I just wondered if any
Josh, I'm about to mute you, Josh.
Wait. Listen,
Josh, I'm about to mute you, Josh.
Like Coach English, you're being rude. Let her listen. Like, she's our guest. She wants to hear it.
She doesn't want to hear it. She does not want to hear it.
Yes, she does.
Wait, hold on, Josh. Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question, Josh? Isn't it my shout-out time? It's my time for shout-outs, right?
Shannon, Do you want to hear it?
Okay, I want to hear it. Here you go.
Right.
Ready? Here you go.
Here we go. So, Shannon, all your years, man, of having kids who play sports, have any of them ever came home and told you how their coach ran a mile in a pair of duckhead khakis and even did squats to demonstrate how to be proper squats in duckhead khakis?
No, that's what? Who did that?
You're talking to a legend, because Coach English is a legend. He got frustrated one day and showed his guys how to run a mile with khakis on, because he said, if I could do it with my duck heads on, y'all could do it with y'all basketball shorts. So he ran a mile with duck head khakis and a button-up on and squatted about 275 pounds and walked home after the workout.
Coach, really?
Look, Shannon, don't listen to Josh.
Coach,
Shannon.
Whoa, wait a minute, Coach. I would have been on the floor if I'd have seen that. Like, really?
He is a legend. He is a legend.
Shannon, I'm telling you, do not listen.
You gotta plead your case. Go ahead.
Don't listen.
Finish your shout outs, Coach English.
My case is don't listen to Josh. That's my case. Don't listen to Coach Staley. Coach Staley, like I said, listen to the show, listen to Jordan's interview and how I didn't have on a button up, but now all of a sudden I have on a button up. I'm just saying, it
I
changes.
didn't mention the button up.
You
didn't mention the button up. I didn't put the button up in there. I didn't think you wanted people to know about the button up, but it used the button up. The button
Was it
up
a long
has
sleeve or a short sleeve button up? I mean, was it
No,
long or short?
No, Shannon, to his credit, the button up had an elastic collar, so the collar stretched. So that was the athletic wearing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not fooling with y'all. Shannon, listen, please do not let him deter you from being a guest on the show again. That's all I got to say.
No, it won't. It won't. No, I might come back and host one day. You never know.
Please, Shannon, come on.
Hey, definitely, please come host, man. It has been a complete pleasure. If y'all haven't already done it, go on Amazon, order the book, The Process by Shannon B. Mason. Also, check out, if you want to learn more about it, www.evolve365.com. That's www.evolve365.com. I had an opportunity to read the website, read everything on it. Trust me, you're going to want to do so yourself. But thank you, Shannon, to you.
Thank you.
And your son.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Shannon.
For coming on. It has been a complete and utter pleasure, and thank you for putting up with the foolishness from my partner and myself, because we love to have a good time, and just thank you. Really, I cannot thank you enough, because I think that out of all the shows we've done, the parents will get the most out of this one. But as always, keep God first. Everything else will follow. Peace.
Peace. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
Thank you, Shannon.
All right, Shannon.
You're welcome. Bye.
Yo, what up, my people? This is J.R. Glent from Defy Life. If you're looking for an in-depth, honest, at times hilarious conversation on anything from current events to sports to entertainment and more, check out myself, Alvin, Thomas, Gerald, and Yosh on the Defy Life podcast. Dropping every Wednesday, available at GoDefyLife.com and everywhere your favorite podcasts are available. And as always, if you're not rocking with Defy Life, what's your life about?
Got to pay the price. We make winning look easy. Welcome to Defy Life.